In October 2017, Maltese blogger and investigative journalist Daphne Caruana Galizia was assassinated after calling out corruption at the highest political level in her country. Once described as one-woman WikiLeaks, Caruana Galizia's reporting largely focused on revelations from the Panama Papers, but not only. She also exposed Malta's golden passport scheme, whereby the island sells passports to barely screened foreign nationals and corrupt businessmen. She was investigating dozens of cases on money laundering, corruption, and tax evasion, also involving dictatorships, using Malta as a base. Her very impressive work lives on through a media consortium known as the Daphne Project. I am very pleased today to welcome two of her sons to shed light on their mother's work and legacy. Matthew and Andrew Caruana Galizia, welcome to the Global Conversation. Your mother had received threats, including death threats, prior to her assassination. Malta did nothing to protect her?
Who could she go to for protection? Yes, the police should have protected her, but could she go to them, for example, and expect a reaction from them when she was putting the spotlight on them, when often the people who were threatening her felt that they could threaten her because they had such close links to the government and our law enforcement authorities? That puts a journalist in the weakest possible position.
It's a bit of a catch-22 here.
Yes, and the same conditions exist in several other EU member states.
Back in Malta, the investigation into your mother's assassination is treated as a criminal case. There seems to be, based on what she revealed and based on what this consortium of media has done in carrying on her work, clear political ramifications.
In reality, our mother was investigating political corruption at the highest levels of government in Malta. Those are the first people who need to be investigated, people within politics, people within the institutions. Our mother wasn't investigating any of the people who've been arrested.
Yeah, 3 people have been arrested linked to, armed robberies.
She had heard of one of them, but she had never investigated him.
Never met him.
We know who our mother was afraid of, and we know where the sources of the threats came from. We've communicated these concerns to the authorities, and we can't go around looking for proof. So our expectation is that the names that we've given to the authorities will be the first ones to be investigated.
And how did they react when you shared those names?
When we attempt to communicate with the police, there's never any response.
So what I'm hearing from you is that it's a pretty hopeless process, this investigation.
Of course, the situation is terrible, but we continue to expect and demand more. Our own rights, after all, and our mother's own rights.
Back to your mother's work. Her legacy lives on through a consortium of international media. They have fully exposed the golden passports scheme that your mother started investigating. Are there other cases your mother was investigating that we'll soon hear about?
What we realized is that every single case is connected to the other, and the cast of characters is the same.
So ramifications to Russia, Azerbaijan, this Iranian businessman that is now sitting in a jail in the US, all these people are connected, is what you're saying?
Yes. When you break down institutions and capture them and destroy them in order to enable your own corruption, you then let in the door everything else, all the other bad stuff in the world. It's like inverting the Pandoras Box. This is what's happened. So, of course, for as long as there is impunity and nothing is done to rectify the situation, to restore Malta to normality, indeed to restore Europe to normality, then, of course, the stories are going to continue. And
but will there be new revelations, maybe new cases, or it's just going to be exposing more of this web of interconnection between these different characters?
The Daphne Project has its own mission, so it's continuing our mother's work, and it will find, it will break new ground. That's the expectation. Our mother's been killed, her work has been halted.
Sure.
And they are picking up the threads. Where these threads lead, no one knows.
Okay.
What really a term that really defines what our mother learned about Malta is state capture. This is what all these stories led to. It led to this conclusion that Malta is a captured state. Its institutions are captured, and now we're learning what the private interests behind that state capture, who they are and how they're connected to each other, and what kind of influence they have over our administration. Whether this is something we could ever escape from, or whether we're destined to be a tool of foreign private interests for the next few years.
Very briefly for viewers, why Malta? You think like web of, money laundering, corruption, you think Italy, the mafia, or you think the Middle East, or you think, but Malta, why? Why this island?
Larger countries like Italy, even Brazil, no matter how bad the situation gets, always have pockets of institutional independence. Malta's a small country, so very easily, if you capture a major political party which is going to be elected to government, all of a sudden you control all the levers of a European Union member state. Malta's EU membership, instead of serving as protection, made us a more attractive prize for these people. Malta has enormous power for its size within the European Council, within the European Parliament, and also influence over the European Commission. That's incredibly dangerous. And obviously, which, international money launderers and criminal geniuses wouldn't want to have control of an EU member state. And they found the perfect vehicle in our current Prime Minister.
The investigation is at a really critical stage. But of course, because as my brother was saying, it's a whole web of corruption and a lot of it is transnational. We need people to keep coming forward to the Daphne project. It's impossible to engage in this much corruption, to organize the murder of a journalist without involving a lot of people. So we need people to keep coming forward in secret, anonymously, however. But they really need to keep coming forward to help the investigators plug these holes.
Matthew, Andrew, thanks for being with us on The Global Conversation. As for you, catch up with us on Euronews' social media. Goodbye for now.